Hi everybody, we got a quick video to show you the new front axle 2.0. So the axle itself is pretty much the same, the construction's the same, the dimensions, all that are the same. The biggest thing we did is on the end here, we added a boss, and that boss is threaded M2 for a set screw that we're going to show you. So the concept behind this axle is a little bit different than the solid kingpins we had before. The solid kingpins we had before would press into the spindle and then rotate in the metal axle. So you had metal to metal here, you had to keep it oiled. These would wear out the axles a little bit. So what we did is we now are going to set screw the kingpin to the axle, and the spindles are going to rotate on the kingpin. So this should give you a little bit longer wear on the parts here and a little bit better fit too. So you're going to want to use the new spindles that come with it. You can either buy an axle kit or buy the spindles, but we have new spindles. They're basically the same spindles. We have a 2mm hole all the way through, so you don't have to drill them. And we also raised up this little section right here to give a little bit more clearance on the drag link arm between that and the axle. The kingpins are very similar to the ones we had before, but these have a flat on them. Try to get you a good shot of that. And that flat is more towards one end than the other. You can see how it's more towards the one end. So what you're going to want to do when you install these kingpins is the end that flat is closer to is always going to be the top. And that flat is going to line up with the set screw. So when you tighten that set screw down, if it does damage the shaft at all, or the kingpin, it's going to hit that flat, and it's not going to impede this from coming in and out. So you're going to want to make sure that's lined up, and I'll show you that in a minute. We do have a Allen wrench that comes with the kit, and then you'll also have the two set screws, these little here. So these are very, very small, very short. We recommend putting this together over something like a rubber mat like this. So if you do drop these, they drop and they stop instead of hitting something and going flying. Because if these go on the floor, you probably never find them. So you're going to put these together, you're just going to take the set screw and put it on the Allen wrench. And if you don't get it lined up, it's a little bit hard to see which end has the hex in it. So if it doesn't go into one end, just flip it around. And then you're going to want to thread these in the end of the axle or in the new boss. And you're going to only need to go about 1 or 2 turns to get these started. You don't want to go all the way or it'll stop the kingpin from sliding through. And then you're going to take the other one. And before we actually do the other one, this wrench can strip out pretty easy. It's fairly soft material. You can grind these off if you need to get a better end on it. But we are also going to have a new wrench that we're going to offer, and that's going to be a 0.9mm wrench, similar to our other ones. It's a hardened and ground tip, so it's going to be a little bit better. So we're going to use this wrench for the assembly to make it a little quicker. So you're going to line that up with the set screw, just make sure it's in there, and then you're going to put the other set screw in. Then you're going to want to take the spindle and slide it onto the axle. Then take the kingpin and make sure you find the end that the flat is closer to and put that on the top. So you're going to slide that in and just get it started in the axle. Then you're going to want to make sure the flat is lined up with the set screw, and then just slide that down in there and push it down until it's flat on the top and the bottom of the spindle, and then tighten the set screw down. And you're going to know if you have that flat lined up because when you go to tighten this set screw down, you're going to see the set screw go flush or a little bit below the surface of this axle. If it sticks up, you don't have that lined up. Push that back out and get that lined up, and you'll see it go down in there. And then you're going to want to do the left side. Again, find the flat on the axle that's closest to the top or closest to the one end. Put that on top, and then get the flat lined up with the set screw, just like that. Then slide the kingpin all the way down in there, and then you're going to want to tighten up the set screw. And when you go to tighten these screws up, you just need to torque them down just a little bit. You don't want to put a lot of force on them because you'll strip out the set screw. You can also strip out and break your wrench. So you just need to put a little bit of torque on these. You don't need a lot. And you don't want a lot because if you go to take these back out and it galls into the kingpin, you're not going to be able to get them back out, and you're going to have to buy new parts to replace them. So just tighten those up. And then one thing you're going to want to do after you assemble this, you're going to want to make sure that the spindle rotates nice and free. So we have a spindle here. This one here we have a little bit tight just for this video so you can see it. So when you shake this back and forth, you can see how this one moves back and forth really easy. This one here doesn't quite move as easy. So that means that there's either a little bit of debris, like a little flashing at the top of the holes, or the hole might be just a slight bit undersized from shrinkage in the material. Either way, if you want to take like your X-Acto knife and maybe ream the top out, ream the bottom of the spindle out just a little bit on the edge, make sure there's no flashing, make sure the kingpins are clean. You can always take like a 2mm drill bit and just by hand just kind of run it through the spindle just to make sure there's nothing inside of there. You can also take the set screw loose again, take the assembly out, push the kingpin back in, and get it flat down in there, and then tighten it up. And then you're just going to want to make sure that it's nice and free, so it rotates back and forth. If it is a little bit tight, if it has just a slight amount of drag on it, you may notice the first 3 or 4 runs that you run it, if the steering doesn't come back to center quite as easy as it used to, it could be because of this. You can either fix this, or if you run it a little bit, it'll wear in the spindle a little bit on the kingpin, and it'll free right up. We don't recommend putting any kind of Loctite on these set screws. All the testing that we've done, we haven't had any of them come loose. You're just going to want to check them every once in a while. Just put that in there and just make sure there's a little bit of torque on it. Just make sure they're tight, that type of thing. If you do get on a track where it's very, very rough, things are bouncing around a little bit, if these do come loose, you can put just maybe like a green Loctite. That's like the lowest grade or the lowest hold strength Loctite. You probably just want to put a little bit on like a piece of paper and maybe just barely touch the threads in it. You don't want much, because if you get these set screws Loctited in there, you're not going to get them back out, and then you're going to just have to buy new parts to get them back out. Again, we do recommend this wrench when if you're going to use this axle setup. It just makes assembly a lot easier, makes tightening them up a lot easier. And you're not, like I said, this one may strip out a few times, so you may just have to grind the end if you do decide to use this. But if you have any questions, these wrenches, again, will be available on our website. If you have any questions on this axle, how it goes together, just hit us up on our email on our website or any of our social media pages. This does come with the Sprint Car 4.0, and we do have this on the website. We have the axle assembly, or the axle kit. We have the axle itself that comes with some set screws, and then the spindles by themselves that come with some kingpins. So again, if you have any questions, hit us up, and thanks for watching.